Okay. So our monthly theme is reflection, and I would like you to look at your program. In the program, there's a note from me every month. Some of you may not know that, but there is. And I say at the top of it, as we step into the final summer month, it is the perfect time to allow our minds to reflect on the many gifts that we have in our lives, the relationships that bless us, the opportunities that present themselves every day, and the love that is everywhere present. It was Confucius who said, "The noblest of ways we may learn wisdom is by reflection." So the question I have, Kevin, could you take that for me? The question I have is, what wisdom is trying to know you? What is in there that is trying to get your attention? Right? The definition of reflection is serious thought or consideration. Serious thought or consideration. So the title of my talk today is Consider This. Consider this. You know, what have you been considering in your mind for your life? You know, because as Confucius says, reflection allows you to bring forth all the wisdom that's in you to have. And the wisdom is where you should start when you consider. Not all this stuff out here. Not all the yeah buts and the reasons and all the past stuff that shows you things. But the wisdom of the universe. What if we just start there and consider from there? Consider this. I am the very energy of God, manifesting itself through me, just as the master teacher Jesus taught, just as Buddha taught. To understand and know, I consider who I am before I consider what I do. Because if I consider who I am first, then what I do comes from who I am. And I don't come from other things that I could perhaps consider. Consider the marketplace. Consider the finances right now in the world. Consider the shootings that are going on all over the place. Consider all of this. If I spend my life considering all of that from the perspective of what it looks like, imagine what you're doing to your bodies, what you're doing to your stomachs, what you're doing to your hearts, what you're doing to your minds. But when I know who I am, when I stand in that, consider that for a moment, and now consider everything from that point of view. That's what I would like this month to be a testing ground for every one of us. I would like this month to be about all of us having the opportunity to reflect on who and what we are. So, is it possible? Is it absolutely possible? And I'm getting something here. So what is this, Daniel? 1, 2, 1, 2. Is it mine? Maybe it's you. Is it that? Is my mic off there? Do you hear that? Is it my breath? No, it might be these overhead mics too. It's the wind on my mic? It's the wind beneath my wings? Oh. Anyway, right. Is it possible that there is another way to see things? And you know what? Here's the thing about you guys. You may not know it, but you may not actually believe that it's possible for you to see things a different way. You may be so stuck in your thinking that it's impossible for you to see things a different way. I've had that. Anybody? You don't have to raise your hands. I know who you are. But I found myself that way, to be that way. I see Eric Bork sitting here. You know, he and I have had this thing about Abraham Hicks for years now. But when he finally took me to see Abraham Hicks, and let's be honest, I agreed to go. So I do get some credit for that. He didn't drag me there in a bag. And then I listened to Esther speak. I may still not believe that she's channeling something called Abraham. I may not believe that, but I certainly hear what she's saying and hear great things coming out of that woman's mind, right? So who cares where it's coming from? It's here. So can I change? Yes, I can change. But you got to ask yourself, can I change? Am I willing? Can I possibly even consider things different from who I am? Can I consider other people's opinions when they're not my opinions? And what do I do with that? Plotinus, the great Neoplatonic philosopher, said, I do not argue, I reflect. And as I reflect, I let fall the forms, it's that area. I let fall the forms of my thoughts. Think about that. I love that line. I do not argue, I reflect. And as I reflect, I let fall the forms of my thoughts. Let fall the forms of my thoughts. So, what kind of thoughts are falling out of your head? What kind of words are coming out of your mouth? What are you adding to the world? When you wake up each morning, and those of you that go onto Facebook and see what's going on in the world of Facebook, what do you let your mind do when you see what you see or hear what you hear? Do you engage? Somebody says something you don't like, do you smack back at them? Do you engage? Is that letting fall the thoughts of your wise, truthful self? Or is it perhaps reacting to the world out there, right? Do we get caught up in all of this stuff out here so much so we forget who we are? And we just start behaving any way we see fit, any way we are being prodded to behave. You know that the world does tend to prod us into reacting certain ways. Do you let that happen? Or could you consider something else? Consider looking at this a different way. So, something happened this week in our congregation that I knew I would address, and it was on Facebook. So, one of our congregants wrote something on Facebook. We are in a political season, and I know I said this last week or the week before, that our job is to stay on the high watch, to allow people. There are people in this room who are Republicans. There are people in this room who are Democrats. There are people in this room who are independents. And there are people in this room that really could care less. I get it. Every single one of these people need to be respected, honored, and heard for what they believe, even if it's not what you believe. We have to respect. So it happened this week on Facebook. One of our congregants wrote something that she felt very strongly, and another congregant lashed back at her really badly. And it went on so long, I don't usually get calls from people about Facebook. I get very different calls. But this week I got 2 calls and 1 email saying that I needed to look on Facebook and really see what my congregation was doing. I was like, oh my God, there's like a watcher out there checking the world. So I did. And it really did upset me, what I was reading. And I have spoken to one of the 2 people. And here's the thing. There is a way to discuss these things with respect. If you're going to come from love only, forgive everything, remember who you are, why do you forget who you are with politics? Thank you. We can't let politics be the area where we forget who we are. I'm sorry. You know, we all have our own opinions about what's going on in the world. Your opinion means nothing unless you put your opinion in front of love and then allow it. It doesn't mean you can say the same exact things you are saying from love as you say from hate. You want to know why there are hate crimes in our world? Because there's a lot of hate coming out of people's consciousness. When the consciousness of this world changes, the hate crimes will go away. So which side of that are you going to be on? Are you going to be on the side that is putting love out into the world? And that doesn't mean we're stupid. That doesn't mean we don't notice what's going on. I will vote my conscience when it comes time to vote it. I will speak my truth of who I believe is speaking in the way I want to be represented in my country. I will speak that. It's very ironic. While Donald Trump is not my candidate, he has passed law that now allows ministers and priests to speak their mind about politics, good or bad. You're going to hear it all over the country now, all through the political season, because ministers and priests will, I doubt that I will, but will stand there and start telling you what they believe. I don't want to tell you how to think. I just like our philosophy, which lets us know. I don't want to tell you what to think. I like that our philosophy teaches us how to think. And that's thinking from love. So this whole thing that happened on Facebook, while it did annoy me at first, I will say, it was like, ugh. While it annoyed me at first, it really brought me to a much better place about this whole thing that's going on. You know, I have friends that say, I can't have a Republican for a friend. And it's like, really? That's fascinating. or the Democrats are ruining our world. And I'm like, really? Because I happen to be one. Can't we converse with love? Can't I hear what you have to say? I have a feeling if we actually listened to some of the intelligent people that are voting for Donald Trump, if we actually listened to why, we might find some commonality. We might also find some differences. But can we still be okay in those differences and try to move on the commonality? We have to do this. And in this month of reflection and this idea of consider this, a world, a United States of America, where we actually listen to our brothers and sisters, even if they don't have our opinion. Just listen. Just consider it. And I am not standing up here asking you to consider voting something other than your conscience. But give people the respect and love they deserve, because I guarantee you, if you want someone's opinion to change, if you would like someone to really understand why you think your position's a better position, come from love when you're expressing it. It leaves the field open to actually hearing what you have to say and hearing what the other person has to say. So that was my Facebook day. That was my Facebook week, rather. Now, there's another type of reflection besides the reflection of reflecting on what's in your mind. And that is, and Dave brought it up today in his meditation, what's in the mirror of your life? I still can't say that word without reminding myself of my speech impediment as a child. My lazy R. Mirror, mirror, mirror. Did I say it? Mirror, mirror. Yeah. What's in the mirror? As I was writing this, I went, I'm going to have to say mirror. Funny story. My senior year of high school, when I was doing Man of La Mancha, I didn't get to play Don Quixote because anyway, another story. I'm still bitter. But I did play the Knight of the Mirrors. And I had a speech impediment. So I had to say Knight of the Mirrors about 20 times in front of my entire high school, and it always came out, Knight of the Mirrors. Worst part was when I was showing the mirror to Don Quixote, this was the line, look in the mirror, Don Quixote, drown, drown, drown. Then I went to college and worked it all out with a speech therapist until I was cast in Your Good Man, Charlie Brown. And I had to sing, happiness is playing the drum in your own school. To which point, the director said, Patrick Quinn, president of Actors Equity, director came to me and he went, you know what, you don't have to play it like he's a child. You can stay at the river. No idea what he was talking about. I was like, okay. I'm like, whatever. I don't think I'm playing it like a child, but okay. I said, he is a child, by the way, Linus. So we do it again, and I'm like, happiness is playing the drum. And he went, hold on. He said, Jim. It was Jim then. Jim, I asked you not to do it like a child. I said, I'm not. He said, you're going drum. I was like, oh. I said, it's a speech impediment. I'm trying to get past it, but I kind of say drum. He went, okay, good. Sally, you sing it. You're taking a different line. And then I went back to the speech therapist, and then the following year, they cast me as Little Chap, and I had to sing mumbo jumbo, rhubarb, rhubarb, tickety rhubarb, yak, yak, yak. Mumbo jumbo, rhubarb, rhubarb, I'm all right, Jack. And the last line was screw you all, and I did the whole thing brilliant. My therapist was so proud of me. I'm like, mumbo jumbo, rhubarb, rhubarb, tickety rhubarb, yak, yak, yak. Mumbo jum, red, white, and blue bar. Poor Britannia's on its back. All those R's. I get to the end of the song, I'm done the whole thing, and I go, I'm all right, Jack. Screw you all. Oh. So back to the talk. What is in the... Did you hear what he just said? Now, was that loving? He asked if I was paying you all for my therapy session. Okay, the question I asked was, what is in the mirror of your life? What is your life showing you? Because the reflection of your life is literally showing you how you're thinking, right? If you're looking at your world and you're being honest about it, everything in your world is a reflection of what's going on in your mind. Because everything going on in the world is only there, in one respect, based on your relationship to it. What is your relationship to everything going on in your life? And it's so funny, there was a question on one of the tests that I just gave out to the students, which was, why is it we know that we can understand what other people are thinking? The real answer is because there's only one mind and we're all a part of it. And this person wrote, because if you look at the way they're living their life, you can see how they're thinking. And I just had my debriefing with him. He was like, I don't see why that's wrong. You say that all the time. And I had to give him the points for the answer because I was like, well, you're absolutely right. I guess you could still answer it that way. I said, but the real answer is because we're in one mind. But for you, individually, if you look at your life, you're going to know the way you've been using your mind. Are your finances secure? Then you have a prosperity mind. Your consciousness is clean about money. If it's not, then there are some core beliefs in there that are screwing you up. If your health is vibrant, no matter what, I don't care if you are in the middle of a health crisis, there is still a way to get back to the consciousness of health, which helps you through that crisis. When I had stage 4 cancer, my entire summer, I remember my doctor saying, your only job is to be healthy. Your only job is health. Take your mind off of everything else. And I did. And boy, when your mind goes health only, health only, health only, I won't say I flew through that event in my life. I didn't. I was carried by many of you in this room. But I look back on it and I'm like, well, that's why I'm standing here today. I was at dinner at Kelly Lang's house last night and her doctor was there, who's one of the greatest ENTs in the city. And when I explained to him what I went through, he was like, do you know how rare you are to be where you are, to be talking the way you're talking, to still be singing based on what you went through, because it was right here. And I do, but I said to him, I said, as a religious scientist, though, it's not an anomaly. It's normal. If your consciousness is clear, your body's clear. If your consciousness is clear, your money's clear. If your consciousness is clear, your relationships are clear. And if your consciousness is clear, your creative expression is just going to flow through you. So this idea of mirrored reflection, be willing this next month, this month of August, be willing to look at your life. See what you have outpictured into the world and see what it's showing you back. And show you attention must be paid, like Linda at the end of Death of a Salesman. Attention must be paid to what you have put out here because it's showing you who you are. It's showing you who you are and what you've created from who you are. That's what we get to reflect on this whole month. Ernest Holmes says that reflection is an image given back. An image given back. So I would like you to spend this month not just assessing, not just intuiting, but actually taking some action. Reflect on what you want. What do you want? I'm so glad you're here, Rob, because I forgot to tell you I need you at the end of my talk. I'll get you. You can go ahead up there. I was like, I forgot to tell Robbie I was going to do a little piano tinkling. I mean, you're going to do piano tinkling. So, what do you want? What do you really want out of life? You must know. You must know. Thomas Troward says the only thing we ever need to want is joy. Our only purpose is to enjoy life. So what has you enjoying life? What gives you joy? What do you want? And you know what? If you hear yourself saying, yeah, but I don't think I can have that. Well, I got to do this longer. Well, it just doesn't make sense. When I think about my daughter going out to dinner and not coming back, and in the cheerful mood she was in, I think to myself, okay, she was enjoying her life. She had things that she wasn't happy about, but she was enjoying her life. What 19-year-old who looks like that and as smart as that and talented as that doesn't enjoy her life? We all need to be that. You don't know when your time is going to come. You just don't know. And it's not that I want to be a fear-monger. You're going to die. You may die tomorrow. Enjoy today. That's not it. It's that because you're not going to die, because life's going to go on. But how about we learn this lesson of enjoying life now and not waiting for tomorrow or the next day or the one after that? Why not reflect on that? So I want you to reflect on what you want this month. There's nuances to this. See all this, figure out how you put it there, decide which ones you want there, expand those. Decide which ones you don't want there, get rid of those. And then allow your mind to be open to hearing the wisdom, as Confucius says. Just let that wisdom pour through you. You may find out you do want to be a pole dancer. Whatever comes your way. At Kelly's party last night, this very powerful lawyer, ironically the lawyer for her husband from her last divorce, that always makes me laugh. She became your friend. Yeah. Kelly said, me too. She said to me, you know what I really love? Tap dancing. And I was like, so tap dance. She goes, well, there's no tap dancing school, right? And no tap dancing classes on my side of the hill. I said, because you haven't looked. I said, frankly, where do you live? I said, great. It's called blank tap classes. They're right there, right by you. She was like, you got to give me the name. We don't look. We have an idea. Oh, I want to tap dance. Do you know how many people teach tap classes in this city? Lots. So if you want a tap class, there's a tap class near you waiting for you to buy their shoes and jump into the room. So whatever it is, don't say no to it. Reflect on the fact that you can consider it a different way. If we all left here today with the concept that we can empty our minds, I know nothing. Now what can I know? Wouldn't that be lovely? I know nothing. I'm not going to know anything from the past. When I was a young actor in New York, the reason why I did so well is because every audition I walked into, I figured it was going to be my part. I didn't know that there was a possibility it wasn't. I mean, I guess I did on some level, but I was like, yeah, it's mine if I want it. That's what I believed. I was then taught that that cannot happen. And I had some growing to do. I had to go back and figure it out. I had to go back to Unity. I had to go to Unity Church to figure out what I believed without anything. That's all we're doing here. We are asking ourselves to remember who we are, go back and figure out what we knew coming in here before we took all this stuff and started making rules and regulations to our minds. So, Robbie, what I'm going to ask you to do is take a deep breath, close your eyes. Robbie, just give me some, not you, just give me some pretty music. So, as we go into this month of reflection, I'd like you to freely, easily pick something that you want. It can be a thing, it can be a disposition, it could be a person. Whatever it is, just pick what you want and envision it. What does it look like? What would it feel like? If anything comes along that may qualify it, just push it out of your mind. Just allow yourself to know, what is it? What do I want? And the funny part of this is going to be that if you really quiet your mind, if you really allow yourself to just reflect on what you want, the ocean of wisdom and potentiality that flows within you is going to come right in there and just expand whatever it is. I don't need to know how to get it. I don't need to know how this is going to happen. I just need to stay in that mindset, in that consciousness of knowing this is who I am, this is what I want. Divine desire. So take another deep breath, and you can open your eyes and Robbie will keep playing. So you just started something. That's how the mind works. You just pictured something, you decided something. You just started the journey. The question is, where are you going to allow it to take you? It's not about where are you going to take it, how are you going to make it happen. Where are you going to allow whatever that thing is that you chose, Or are you going to allow it to take you? There is a magical, mystical, magnificent journey ahead of you. Living the life you were meant to live. Being the person you were born to be. Nothing holding you back. No restrictions, no limitations. Just an open field, a beautiful open field, a magnificent panorama of pure possibility. Whatever that is, you've claimed it, you've named it. Now allow it to take you as you merely reflect upon it. That's as simple as it has to be. And what I know is that each person in this room has the capacity, each person online that hears this speech, this talk, has the capacity to allow that divine wisdom within to move each one of us to the highest level of consciousness and to live from there, to love only, forgive everything, just get rid of all that stuff and remember who we are. And when we do that, what we want, what we desire, what is ours to do is inevitable. That's the truth. And I just let it be so, and so it is. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you.